I wish I had more time to read. I am really into journaling. I love and I'm very passionate about theater and acting on stage. These are ways that I can talk about my hobbies. Hi, welcome to Jen's Jyugyou. My name is Jen, and today I'm going to teach you how to talk about hobbies in English. First, let's take a look at 9 different expressions that we can use to express what our hobbies are in English, to talk about what we like to do in our free time. Number 1 is I like. And after the verb like, you can use a noun, a gerund, or an infinitive. For example, I like books. I like to read. I like reading. Number 2 is I love. And after love, you can use a noun, a gerund, or an infinitive. For example, I love Pokemon cards. I love to collect Pokemon cards. I love collecting Pokemon cards. Number 3 is I'm into or I'm really into. After that, we can use a noun or a gerund. For example, I'm really into theater, or I'm really into acting. Number 4 is I enjoy. And after enjoy, you can use a noun or a gerund. For example, I enjoy music. I enjoy listening to music. Number 5 is to be passionate about something. I am passionate about a noun or a gerund. For example, I'm passionate about cooking. I'm passionate about food. Number 6 is I've got a thing for. I've got a thing for a noun or a gerund. If my husband was doing this, he would say, I've got a thing for baseball. I've got a thing for watching baseball. Number 7 is when I have time, I often, and after this, we should use a base verb. So when I have time, I often sing. When I have time, I often go skating. When I have time, I often take pictures. Number 8 is I wish I had more time to, and after this, we should use a base verb. I wish I had more time to travel. Number 9 is my hobby is plus a gerund. For example, my hobby is acting. My hobby is singing. My hobby is collecting stamps. My hobby is playing soccer. There are many hobbies in the world, and I'm sure you might even have some very unique and offbeat hobbies. When thinking about hobbies, I don't have time to introduce you to all the vocabulary, but I want to maybe talk about 6 categories that you could possibly group hobbies into and give you some examples of those types of hobbies. First, you could have a hobby that is a sport or a physical activity. For example, she is into yoga. They enjoy playing soccer. In English, there are a variety of sports that you play, but there are some sports that you do. And there are also some sports where we use go and use the sport as a gerund, like go skating. The difference between play, do, and go can be very confusing. So I've actually made a separate video about that, which you can check out over here. That should help you. Next, you could have arts or creative hobbies. For example, he is into photography. They are into making jewelry. He loves playing the guitar. He's passionate about pottery. She's got a thing for painting. You could also have hobbies connected to games. For example, maybe your hobby is doing puzzles or playing video games, playing board games, playing chess, playing Go, playing mahjong. I've read in the comments that some of you are really into poker and other people are really into crossword puzzles. You might also have hobbies that are connected to nature. For example, bird watching or stargazing or gardening. Another kind of category for hobbies is collecting things. I collect Pokemon cards now, but when I was a kid, I used to collect stickers. I know some people who collect coins or collect stamps or things like that. The final category you could use to talk about hobbies is hobbies that are connected to enrichment, improving yourself or improving your mind in some way. So things such as reading or journaling or home improvement projects, learning a second language and things like that. Now, let's take a look at examples of questions that you can use to ask someone about their hobbies. Of course, you could just ask, what are your hobbies? Or what is your hobby? Although this question is perfectly fine in English, as a native speaker, I don't necessarily use this exact expression when asking other people about their hobbies. I would probably ask something like, so what kind of things are you into? Or what sort of things do you like to do in your free time? Most people are really busy with work during the week, so on the weekend, they often have more time to enjoy their hobbies. So an indirect way of asking someone about their hobbies and trying to get to know them more would be to ask them, what did you do on the weekend? So when you ask someone what they did on the weekend or what do you usually do on the weekend, these types of questions allow the person to explain what they did on the weekend, and hopefully the things that they did are connected to their hobbies. So if you ask me what I did on the weekend, I would tell you, oh, I went to the theater with my husband and we saw a really amazing play. So from that, you could guess that I probably like theater and that it's one of my hobbies. Another great expression is, what other things do you like to do besides? And you say a name of a hobby that you already know that that person likes. This way you get to know even more about them and know about an additional hobby they might have to see if you have even more things in common with each other. For example, 2 weekends ago, I was at a friend's party at a board game cafe. And everyone was playing board games and having a great time. And I know the girl next to me likes playing board games. So I said to her, besides board games, what other things do you like to do? And this gives her an opportunity to talk about other hobbies that she has. Now that you know how to talk about your hobbies, what kind of hobbies there are, how to ask someone about their hobbies, the final thing that you might want to know how to do to have a conversation about hobbies is to continue the conversation. So you can continue the conversation and get to know the person even more by asking follow-up questions. Follow-up questions can help the conversation to keep going because you're asking the person more details about their hobby. I'm going to give you 4 useful questions that you can use as follow-up questions specifically for hobbies. The first 2 questions that I have for follow-up questions about hobbies are very similar. The first one is, how did you get into, and say the name of the hobby. So if someone's hobby is basketball, how did you get into basketball? If their hobby is gardening, how did you get into gardening? If their hobby is acting, how did you get into acting? And so on. Another question which is very similar is, what got you interested in? And you can say the name of the hobby. So, what got you interested in skydiving? What got you interested in painting? What got you interested in bungee jumping? A third follow-up question you could ask is, how long have you been doing this hobby for? How long have you been playing piano? Or how long have you played piano? How long have you been playing soccer? How long have you played soccer? How long have you been making candles? How long have you made candles? Another question you could ask is, how often do you, and say the name of the hobby. So when I tell people, I love going to the actual theater and seeing plays on stage, seeing musicals, live theater, Many people say, oh, that's interesting. How often do you go to the theater? My brother's hobby is photography, so people might ask him, how often do you take photos? Or how often do you have photo shoots? How often do you play badminton? How often do you sing karaoke? And so on. So today, you have learned a lot of useful expressions that you can use to help talk about hobbies in English. When talking about hobbies, we often use expressions that show our like of certain things. If you'd like to learn some more expressions to help express your general like and love of things in English, please check out a lesson I've made about that over here. And now it's time for Question of the Day. For today's question of the day, in the comments below, please tell me, what do you like to do in your free time? Try to use some of the expressions from this lesson in your answer. Thank you so much for watching this lesson. If you found it useful, please subscribe to Jen's Jyugyou and give this video a thumbs up. Good luck with your English studies. See you in the next lesson.